So there is a brand new project on Hyperliquid, and this one is getting a lot of traction, like really a lot. So I want to show you a quick trick to get as many points as possible. So even if you're not using a crazy amount of funds, or maybe you don't have a lot of capital, you just need an edge and actually understand how the project works and also the point system. So that project is ProjectX. They are pretty brand new. You can see there is a post. There is a post on how their TVL have been growing, and it is actually massive. So the first time that I saw it was 2 days ago, 2 to 3 days ago, and TVL was around $8 million. And look at this. Right now, it is sitting at 41 million. So first of all, that's a great thing. We have people are talking about it, which is attention. And by the way, this is the only project, Hyper EVM project, that is on Kaito. This is not a campaign, so right now they're not giving any rewards to be on Kaito, but people have been talking so much about it that they're even ranking on Kaito. So again, attention brings value, brings more money, and people interested in whenever the token is out. So hopefully that can increase the FDV for the airdrop in the future. Then second is how they have been growing, like TVL again, massive, from 8 million to 41 million within 48 hours. And lastly, which is something personal, is how the platform looks and works. So for me, UI, I'm a big sucker when it comes to UI. If something is not well done, they haven't put enough thought about it inside the project and really creating a good platform, probably I'm gonna be skipping it, because I have a motto: however you do something is how you do everything. For me, it looks amazing and it also works. So let's go straight into the point system. So right now points are being updated, so that's why mine is at 0. Should probably come maybe by the end of the day or probably tomorrow. But how you can get points on the platform is, number one, by providing liquidity. Second, trading, which is just swapping back and forth, or inviting friends. So for me, I'm gonna focus on providing liquidity, because swapping, you already know how to do it. So when it comes to providing liquidity, there is a big thing you need to take into consideration, is that points are based on the fees that you generate, not on the amount of funds that you have. So probably, let's say you have $10,000 into a stable pair, something like USDTO and USDHL, and I have $5,000 into Hype USDTO. I'm gonna be getting way more fees than you. Even though you have twice as much as me, I'm still gonna be beating you when it comes to generating fees. So it doesn't really matter the amount of funds that you have, as long as you know how to provide liquidity and you have a range that is narrow enough, and also you pick a coin or a pair that is hot enough. So one example would be Meteora. I've been providing liquidity on Meteora for the past a year and a half, more or less. And I know people that the only thing that they do is provide liquidity on stable pairs. So that means USDC, USDT, but they're getting like 1% per month on that. Myself, I can use 200 bucks and I can make $30, 50 bucks within a few hours. And that is because I'm using a range that is narrow, and also I'm using a pair that is hot. So that's why. So again, you just need to have an edge, not really the amount of capital. So if we go to the platform, first step is that you're gonna need some hype tokens, obviously, because this is on the Hyperliquid blockchain. First step would be to go to the Hyperliquid DEX. I'm gonna add the link in the description. And you're gonna need to deposit some USDC into the platform. Once you do that, you swap it for Hype, and then you will see the option. Once you click on portfolio, you scroll down and you will see the option to transfer to EVM. It goes instantly, and you will receive your tokens on your wallet. Once you're done, you can just come to ProjectX, and then you can swap for whatever the token that you want, making sure that you're always leaving 5-10 bucks worth of Hype, because they're using that for the gas fee. And then let's go to liquidity. So first step would be to filter it using APR. So that means the bigger amount of fees that you're going to be generating. The first one is pump and hype. I'm not really into it, even though the APR is pretty massive. But to be honest, pump is a token that is dropping nonstop. So I don't want to see my hype tokens being converted into a token that is just dropping nonstop. So even though, yes, APR looks pretty interesting, I don't think the risk is worth it. Now, if you want to play with it, be my guest. Go ahead and do it. The other one that we have is Hype USDHL and then Hype USDTO. So this one is paying 178.31% and this one is 177%. So basically the same. One thing to note is that here we're seeing the fees, which is $5,000, and here it is 29K. So you might think this one is paying more, but you also need to take into consideration the amount of liquidity that is in the pool. So here there is $1 million. So let's say if I have 100K, I would have 10% of the share of the pool. But if I add 100K here, obviously it is not 10% anymore. Or even if I add 500K, so I would need 500K just to have 10% of the pool. So take that into consideration. Even if you're seeing the fees that it is higher, you also need to take into consideration the liquidity, but you can just use this. So this is 177%, and this is the one that I'm currently using. So we go to deposit, and then we have the range, which is the most important step. So here the minimum is 38 bucks and the maximum is 57. So that means as long as Hyperliquid stays within that range, I'm gonna be earning fees. My main problem with using a range that big is that $38 is kind of low. So I'm just gonna have my funds sitting around here doing nothing. Same thing if I go up here, 57, kind of high right now. Yes, we can reach it. Anything can happen in crypto. But at the moment, Hyperliquid have been ranging between 45, 47, 48. So for me, it makes no sense to have my funds here doing nothing. You can even see the API, which is at 9%, and that is because the range is so big. So what I would do is drop it to 48.92 and then 47.19. You can see how my API actually increased by 10x. So now it is at 105. So that means I'm gonna be generating way more fees. So if we take the same person using $10,000 with a bigger range and I'm using this range, by the end of the week, if Hyperliquid stays within that range, I'm gonna be earning way more fees than the other person. Now, obviously, it can go outside of the range, so you do have two options. You wait until it goes back into the range, or you close your position and then you swap and then you reopen another position with another price range. So I'm gonna use this. Let's click max 1.27. So yes, I have enough funds. Preview deposit, confirm. And then let's go ahead and confirm here. So this is for approving. Here's the other pop-up. And there you go. So now I have my position. We go to portfolio. Go ahead and refresh. Here it is. So this is a position that I took this morning. You can see that the API is at 58%. And that is because my range is bigger than the new one. Minimum is 46. Maximum is 49.22. So far I have made 1.71 in, I don't know, maybe 8 hours, something like that. And my position is 383 bucks. This one, API, you can see it at 105%. That is because my range is smaller. So minimum is 47.19, maximum 48.92. Current price for hype is 48.07. Now, it takes some time for you to start earning some yield. So even if you see zero at first for the first few minutes, maybe 15, 30 minutes, that's completely fine. You can just leave it as it is. as long as it says in range. If it is not in range, it will show out of range. And also the fees. So for the last 24 hours, the platform has generated $61,000 in fees. But there's one thing to take into consideration, and it is that right now they're not really aggregating a lot of projects, so a lot of other dexes. So I'm pretty sure once they do that, they start adding other dexes, and they are using it as an aggregator, they're gonna get way more fees. So probably 2-3x's pretty quickly. But then again, they just started. So this is a brand new project. So over the last few days, I'm expecting the fees to increase and probably start implementing or adding some other dexes, so they can also get some fees from there. So yeah, as simple as that. As a refresher, you first go to Hyperliquid, the DEX, the platform that we have been using to trade. You deposit some USDC, you purchase some Hype tokens, you transfer it to Hyper EVM. Once you have it, you go to ProjectX. I'm gonna add the link in the description. You swap for whatever other token that you want. Again, keeping some Hype. You go to Liquidity. You look for whatever you're interested in, and then you deposit and you create a narrow range. That's it. Now, when it comes to the points, again, it is not showing up right now, so you will need to wait. You can see that mine says 0. I do have a multiplier, which is 1.1x, and that is because I'm using a referral link from someone in my group. So I'm gonna add my referral link. Go ahead and use it if you want a 10% boost. Oh, you can see that it is increasing just a little bit here. So yeah, so far, that's the info that we have. Just need to keep swapping, which is not something that I'm interested in. I'm not gonna be swapping back and forth just to get some points, but I'm gonna be providing liquidity and checking it maybe once or twice a day just to make sure that it is within range, and if something changes, I can just close it and reopen another position. Now, I do recommend using a few $100 at least. The more, the better. And this is not something that you're gonna be farming or providing liquidity for 2 days. This is for the long term. They just started. So even if we have TGE, it should happen within the next few months. So you do have enough time, but since we're kind of early, I do think it is a good option to start providing liquidity now because there is less competition, so you can earn as many fees as possible, which are obviously points. But then again, make sure that whatever you're using, you keep it there, you continue to provide liquidity so you can increase your points over time. And that's it. Any questions, any doubts, just let me know. Peace out.